Today we're going to start a series of lessons on angles and circles. The first one is pretty basic about central angles, and then we'll expand from there. So, what is a central angle? A central angle is an angle formed by two radii with its vertex on the center. So if I were to draw a picture of that, here's my circle, here's the center, here's one radii, here's a second radii. If I were to label these, BA and BC are both radii of circle B, and so this creates a central angle. And if I were to name this angle, this would be angle ABC, just like that. All right, well, we've got angles, and then we also have arcs. So an arc is an unbroken portion of the circle. So if I'm looking at a circle, I'm going to put a couple points on here. Okay. Imagine your circle is formed with a piece of string, and I just want the piece of string from A to B. This portion right here would be an arc. And if I were to name that arc, when it's an arc that's less than half of the circle, we use two letters. And so I'm going to say arc AB with a little arc symbol over it. And when it's two letters, it means the shortest distance between those 2 points. And the quickest way you can get from A to B is following that yellow path. But what if I didn't want the quickest way? What if I was wanting to talk about the bigger arc? What if I wanted this arc around here? And so to name that one, I would have to use 3 letters. And when I use 3 letters, that means that my arc starts at A, goes through C, and ends at B. So 2 letters is the shortest distance between the 2 points. 3 letters starts at the first, goes through the middle, ends at the last. 2 letters is used anytime you have an arc less than half the circle. And 3 letters is used anytime you have an arc more than half of the circle. Now, there's different types of arcs. The first type of arc is a minor arc. A minor arc is measured between 0 and 180. And hopefully we know that all the degrees in the circle add up to 360, so half a circle would be 180. So a minor arc is any arc that is less than half of the circle. So this arc, ST, and remember 2 letters, shortest distance between the 2 points, that arc is a minor arc because it's less than half of the circle. So then I'm sure you'll be blown away by this, but an arc that's bigger than half of the circle is a major arc. So it's more than 180, but less than 360. So it's more than a half, but less than a full circle. Now notice how I'm writing them as compound inequalities because we're going to use that later in our homework and also in our notes. Okay, so remember, if it's more than half a circle, I have to use 3 letters. Because if I just said arc MN, it would just be the short one from M to N. But I want the bigger arc that's more than 180. So to name that, I'd have to say arc MON. So use 3 letters. The last type of arc we have, so it's either less than 180 or greater than 180, but it could be equal to 180. Whoops, and that is a typo. Okay, when it's equal to 180, it is an arc that measures 180 degrees. So if I draw that picture, here's my circle. Now, if we know it's half a circle, we'd have to know there's a diameter in there somewhere. And I could call this arc AB. You say, well, which one is it? Well, it doesn't really matter. They're both 180 degrees. You can go the top half or the bottom half. Now, if I had a 3rd letter on there, I could use that as well so I can know that it was the top arc. So this one, when you name it, uses 2 or 3 letters. All right, let's take a look at some problems using this. So we want to find the measure of the angles and or the arcs, and then we also want to label them as major, minor, or semicircle. Well, as we're looking at this, I started by giving you a central angle. This angle, 80 degrees central angle, because it's formed by two radii, and the vertex is right here on the center. And the measure of a central angle is always equal to the measure of the arc. So since this angle is 80, this angle, arc right here, is 80. So we know that NM, because it's two letters, it's the shortest distance between the 2 points, NM has to be 80 degrees. Okay, let's try another one. Well, now they want PRM. Well, PRM is an angle. Notice the notation is different. So P to R to M right here. So they want this angle. Well, these two together, the left and the right, are a linear pair. So that means this one has to be 100. Okay, now I messed up. I didn't follow directions. If it's an arc, we have to label it as major, minor, or semicircle. So let's go back to the first one. Arc NM. It's less than 180, so we would call that one a minor arc. The second one is an angle. Angles aren't labeled major, minor, or semicircle. It's not going to have a label. Your homework is going to be all arcs, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, but now that we know that this one is 100, now we know that this arc here is 100. Still less than 180, so it's still minor. Now technically these have degrees, but if you forget to write them, I'm not going to be mad at you. It won't bother me. Okay, NKP. Start at N, go through K, end at P. That's what you have to do when you have 3 letters. Well, that's a semicircle. It's half of the circle, so that's going to be 180. We can label it semicircle. And I want MNP. So we start at M, end at N, and go to P. Now, I think most of you can see what to do, so I'm not too worried about it, but let me just show you that you've got 2 options. You can either add the 80 and the 180, or you know they all equal 360 and subtract the part that isn't included. But whatever you do, you're going to get 260, and that would be a major arc. All right, let's look at the last one. The last one is NMP. So we start at N, go through M, end at P. That one is going to be 100 degrees, and that is a minor arc. All right, let's look at the next problem. Same thing, just a little bit more involved. Now, I'm going to help you with the arcs, or help you with the picture a little bit, and then I want you to fill in the blanks on your own. So right away, I know this angle here is 43, so this arc has to be 43. Because this is a 90-degree angle, this has to be 90, okay? If I look at 43 and this angle right here, those angles are vertical angles. Well, don't they have to be congruent? Of course they do. So that means that's 43 as well. And when you're doing this, it's always really important to look for semicircles, because when you have semicircles, they add up to 180, or diameters are going to cut off 180. So to find this top one over here, I can do 180 minus 90 minus 43, and that is going to give us 47. To find this one over here, because this is a semicircle, or I've got another diameter, I can do 180 minus 43, and that's going to give me 137. So now I know this arc is 137. Okay, I want you to pause the video and see if you can figure out the measures of these arcs and whether they're major, minor, or semicircle. Okay, here are the answers. I do want to point out one thing. I said over here on arc DE, I did the math and I told you it's 47, then I wrote down 49. So that wasn't very good. Let me fix this part here too. So check your answers. Hopefully you got those okay. But remember, when it's 2 letters, it's the shortest distance between the 2 points. When it's 3 letters, you start at the first, go through the middle, end at the last. All right, last 2 problems. We did these at the beginning of the year with acute and obtuse angles, but now we're just doing them with arcs, so it's the exact same thing. This one tells us it's a minor arc, and they tell you what it is, and we need to write a compound inequality for the expressions of x. Well, if it's a minor arc, we know the arc is between 0 and 180. So to solve, we're going to add 25 to both sides. Remember, we did this to all three sides when it was a compound inequality. So this gives us 25 is less than 5x, which is less than 205. And now we're going to divide all sides by 5. So I get 5 is less than x, which is less than 41. And this is, oh goodness, our final answer. What this means is that if you picked a number anywhere between 5 and 41 and put it into this expression, it would give you a value that is a minor arc. Okay? Yes, we know a minor arc is between 0 and 180, but if we picked a number between 5 and 41, put it into this expression, it would give you a minor arc. Okay, one more. This time it's a major arc. So it's a major arc, it's going to be between 180 and 360. So to solve, we're going to subtract 27 from both sides. 180 minus 27 is 153. Over here, 360 minus 27 is 333. 153 divided by 3 is 51. So I get 51 is less than x, which is less than 111. Okay, hopefully this helps. Try your homework.